Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has paused over your house. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Even now, as you read these words, the spiritual realm is active above your roof. Angels are not passing by, they are stationed, waiting for divine instruction. The atmosphere is shifting. What once felt heavy is beginning to lift. Heaven has chosen this address for visitation. You have endured nights that felt endless, prayers that seemed unanswered, and storms that tested every ounce of faith you had left. But tonight, the silence breaks. The same God who saw Moses at the burning bush has seen you in your quiet endurance. He has marked your home for a miracle. This isn't random favor, this is divine selection. The presence of God is scanning through your rooms even now, every wall that has heard your weeping, every corner that has held your exhaustion. Heaven remembers every prayer whispered in frustration and every song sung through tears. Nothing is wasted. The Lord says, because you did not curse me in the drought, I will bless you in the rain. This is the moment where the unseen becomes undeniable. You may not hear the wings of angels, but they are there. You may not see the light breaking through the darkness, but it is shining. The Spirit of the Lord has set his eyes upon your dwelling, and the record of heaven now bears your name. Your house is not ordinary ground, it is a sanctuary. The enemy tried to fill it with confusion, but God has chosen to fill it with peace. You thought you were forgotten, yet heaven has orchestrated a visitation. The same power that raised Lazarus, that broke Paul's chains, is standing in your living room. Chosen one. Do you feel that stirring, that warmth wrapping around you? That is not emotion, it is presence. The King has entered your space. When heaven arrives, everything must realign. What was chaotic begins to order itself. What was cursed begins to bloom. Your home is now a territory under divine protection. Lift your hands where you are. Whisper it aloud. This home belongs to God. Say it until the walls remember it, until the air trembles with faith. For the Lord has declared your home a resting place of his glory. We are reminded through the writings of Moses in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 13. When I see blood, I will pass over, protecting your homes from coming judgment, declares the Lord. These are not just ancient words, they are an eternal decree. God has seen the mark of faith upon your life, the prayers that saturate your home, the praises that echo in your rooms. And because of that, his protection stands firm. Chosen one. This is the night heaven whispers your address into the winds. Miracles are not distant, they are entering through your very door. The angels have already been dispatched. Some of you will feel it in the atmosphere, a sudden stillness, a divine hush before manifestation. Some will dream tonight, and in that dream, you'll see light flooding your home. Do not dismiss it. It is confirmation. You have wondered why certain people suddenly left your life, why doors closed without warning, why silence replaced noise. It was not abandonment, it was alignment. Heaven was clearing the space, preparing the altar. God cannot fill a cluttered room. He removes what would block the blessing. The loneliness you felt was actually the preparation for presence. And now, that presence draws near. Beloved, you are not just surviving, you are hosting heaven. The Spirit of God is stepping through the threshold. Every corner of your home will feel it, the peace, the warmth, the authority. Even your walls will seem to breathe differently. The air will change because the King has entered. You've prayed for external miracles, but God begins within your dwelling. From your living room, his glory will radiate outward, touching every heart connected to yours. There is a reason your home was chosen, not because of what it looks like, but because of the heart that beats within it. You have invited His presence through tears, through worship, through endurance. Your atmosphere has become a sanctuary. When others saw just a room, heaven saw an altar. And tonight, that altar burns with new fire. This is your confirmation. The same God who marked the doors of His people in Egypt has marked your home for a miracle tonight. He is not a distant observer. He is an active deliverer. Your roof is your covering, but His blood is your shield. No weapon formed against your house shall prosper. No darkness will cross the line of covenant. No curse can dwell where the Lord abides. Chosen one, take a deep breath and feel the stillness. That's not emptiness, that's expectancy. The air is charged with divine energy. Something holy is unfolding in your space. You will not wake up to the same atmosphere tomorrow. You will sense a freshness, a peace, an undeniable presence. Because heaven has declared this home is mine. And to you, who read these words not by chance but by appointment, received this message with faith. You are the gatekeeper of your home, the intercessor, the watchman on the wall. Keep your spirit alert tonight. Worship softly, pray with authority. Speak blessing into every room. Declare, my home belongs to God. For the heavens have already echoed back, it is done. Now, if your spirit bears witness, seal this moment with obedience. Like, share, and subscribe so that others marked by God may awaken to their call. And as a prophetic act of agreement, comment 777 below. That number will not be random, it will be your declaration of divine completion. For the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are aligning over your household even now. Your miracle is not coming tomorrow, it is standing at your door tonight. Chosen one, you have felt the sting of separation, the ache of being misunderstood, the quiet distance between you and those who once called you friend. You have walked through rooms where laughter died as you entered, and wondered what you did wrong. But heaven whispers tonight you were never being rejected. You were being set apart. What felt like isolation was divine insulation. God was pulling you aside, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You see, separation is the sacred sign of selection. Before God uses a vessel, He removes it from common use. You have been in that in-between season, where you no longer fit where you once belonged, yet haven't fully stepped into where you're destined to go. It feels like exile, but it's really consecration. The silence around you has not been abandonment, it's been construction. Heaven has been working in the unseen, shaping your spirit for what's about to arrive. Beloved, it's time you understand different doesn't mean defective. The very traits that made others uncomfortable about you are the same ones that qualify you for divine assignment. You carry a frequency not everyone can recognize. You've tried to shrink it, dim it, silence it, just to blend in, but the anointing on your life will never let you disappear. God's chosen ones cannot camouflage forever. The mark of heaven glows too brightly to be hidden. Even your delays have been divine. You thought you missed opportunities. But heaven was protecting you from premature exposure. There were doors that refused to open and you wept, thinking they were rejection. But now, heaven reveals those doors led to distraction, not destiny. You were being shielded, not sidelined. The hand that withheld was also the hand that preserved. Do you remember the ache in your chest when you felt unseen? The questions that filled your prayers. Lord, why me? Why can't I just live a normal life? Heaven smiled at those questions because normal was never written into your design. You are chosen, and chosen ones rarely blend in. The oil upon your life makes you stand out, and the weight of that oil often isolates before it elevates. Think of Joseph, separated from his brothers, misunderstood and imprisoned before the dream came alive. Think of Moses, alone in the desert before the Red Sea parted. Think of David, tending sheep in obscurity before holding a crown. Every chosen one is pulled into hiddenness before they are revealed. The wilderness is not a waste, it is a workshop. God trains his warriors where no one applauds. As the apostle reminds us in his first letter to the church, in the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, "You are God's chosen, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, set his own special people, called from darkness into his marvelous light." That verse is not merely identity, it's prophecy. You are called out. You are separated not by accident but by intention. The light upon your life requires distance from what dims it. You've been yearning for belonging, but heaven wants you to realize you already belong to him. There were relationships that expired because they could not breathe at your new altitude. Some could walk with the old you, but not the anointed you, and that's all right. You were never meant to drag Egypt into Canaan. You cannot carry yesterday's voices into tomorrow's promise. Beloved, if only you could see what heaven sees, the radiance forming around you. You have been polished in the secret place. The pressure you've endured was heaven's fingerprint shaping you into a vessel that can carry glory. Every rejection was a redirection toward holiness. Every closed door was a protection from contamination. You are being positioned. The loneliness, the silence, the separation, all of it was the pruning before the bloom. And now, you stand at the edge of revelation. You are ready. The oil that once soaked in secrecy is about to flow publicly. The same people who doubted you will soon witness the evidence of divine election. Not because you'll boast, but because God will vindicate his mark upon your life. So lift your head, chosen one. Do not mourn what you lost. Celebrate what is coming. Heaven has written your name in radiant ink. You were set apart not to be alone, but to be anointed. The waiting season is never wasted when heaven is the author of it. Be still for a moment and breathe this truth: you have not been forgotten. You have been reserved. Heaven has a way of holding on to its treasures until the appointed time. That time is drawing near. You were never just another soul passing through. You were handpicked, preserved, and prepared. The evidence of that choosing will soon be undeniable. You are not in exile. You are in preparation. And soon, the separation that once broke your heart will prove to be the very thing that saved it. Chosen one, you've walked through long stretches of silence, the kind that feels endless, where prayers echo but no answer seems to return. You've wondered if heaven forgot your voice. Yet tonight, the truth unfolds. The silence was never absence. It was strategy. When God grows quiet, he is often working the loudest. Every unanswered prayer, every delayed promise, every still night was part of a divine design. You were in the waiting room of heaven, and though it felt like stillness, it was sacred movement. The silence before the storm is not emptiness, it's preparation. Before every major shift, heaven stills the air. The earth seems motionless before the thunder cracks open the sky. So it has been with you. That quiet season you mistook for punishment was the pause before power. Heaven has been aligning circumstances, people, and timing around your life like pieces of an invisible puzzle. And now, the edges are beginning to meet. As the psalmist once wrote in the sacred songbook of Israel, in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." These are not words of passivity, they are commands of power. To be still is not to stop, it is to surrender control to the one who governs all. You have tried to fix what only faith could heal. You have tried to move what only prayer could shift. Now, stillness becomes your weapon. Do you understand what happens just before a storm breaks? The air thickens, the sky holds its breath. The world seems to pause, anticipating what's to come. That's where you are now, on the edge of divine eruption. Every quiet moment has been storing pressure, power, and promise. When heaven finally releases it, your life will change in an instant. There are things you prayed for that have not been denied, only delayed until the right alignment. Heaven never misses appointments, it only perfects timing. God is not late, He is precise, and the silence you endured was the countdown to manifestation. Chosen one, you are being called to trust again, not with weary hope, but with expectant faith. You are about to witness the manifestation of every whispered prayer. You are about to see the purpose behind every quiet night. The silence was the soil, and now the seed breaks through. Your spirit is about to hear again. The whisper of the Holy Spirit will grow louder in your home, in your dreams, in your atmosphere. Don't mistake His gentleness for distance. He is near, closer than your own breath. Every sigh has been sacred, every pause has been prophetic. It's time to stop fearing the quiet. It's time to see it for what it is, a sacred canvas on which God paints destiny. When you stopped hearing noise, heaven started composing melody. And now, the music is about to play. Take this moment and remember how far you've come through the silence. The same God who stayed unseen is now preparing to move visibly. You will sense His wind before you see His work. You will feel His peace before the breakthrough arrives. Stay still, stay faithful, and watch how swiftly He moves. Beloved, your heart has learned the language of heaven, the language of trust without explanation. This is maturity. This is what the waiting was for. You are now tuned to His frequency, ready to move when He speaks, ready to rest when He waits. As you read these words, there's a stillness surrounding you. Don't rush it. Breathe it in. That's His presence confirming this truth. The silence was never empty, it was full of Him. And the next sound you'll hear will not be silence, it will be the sound of fulfillment. If your spirit feels this stirring, write this in the comments below: I am listening. Say it not as a ritual, but as a declaration. For by typing it, you tell heaven, my ears are open, my heart is ready. This small act of faith becomes a prophetic response, a moment of agreement between your soul and the Spirit. The silence is ending, the storm is forming, and soon, your breakthrough will speak louder than words ever could. Chosen one, tonight the air around you carries weight, holy weight. The atmosphere of your home is shifted because heaven has drawn near. There is movement just beyond the veil of sight, a quiet choreography of wings and light. Angels have surrounded your dwelling, not by chance, but by command. They are the keepers of the promise, the guards assigned to the marked ones. You are one of them. You've sensed it, haven't you? That sudden calm that settles over you without explanation. The way fear loses its grip even though circumstances haven't changed. Those moments are not accidents, they are evidence. The presence of divine guardians has entered your atmosphere. Heaven never sends protection where heaven has not planned purpose. These angelic sentinels have watched your tears fall and gathered them as testimony. They know your nights of weariness, the prayers whispered when no one else heard. They know the sound of your voice in worship and the strength of your spirit in warfare. And because of that, their assignment intensifies. They are not passive observers, they are soldiers of divine order, responding to the will of the Most High. When the enemy planned intrusion, heaven already prepared interception. For every unseen attack that tried to cross your threshold, An angel stood in the gap. You are here today not because the storm was weak, but because your protection was strong. You have lived under unseen mercy, shielded by forces you could not perceive. The peace you carry tonight is not random, it is guarded. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. These are not mere poetic words, they are living law in the realm of the Spirit. When God gives charge, heaven obeys instantly. The phrase "to keep you in all your ways" does not mean selective protection, it means total covering. Whether you walk through joy or pain, success or struggle, your steps are accompanied by divine watchmen. Chosen one. Angels have always been near, even when you could not feel them. They were there when you narrowly escaped what could have destroyed you. They were there when your heart broke but did not collapse. They were there when you drove home in tears, unaware that danger waited at the next turn, and then somehow, miraculously, it didn't. These moments you called coincidences were actually cover. Now their wings stretch wider. The spiritual borders of your home have been fortified. The dark cannot approach what heaven surrounds. Every curse that once tried to seep through your walls is now sealed out. Every shadow that once lingered in corners flees before light. You will notice the change. Your sleep will come easier, your thoughts clearer, your peace deeper. That's how angelic presence feels, not loud, but undeniable. There is also a mystery in their work. Angels not only guard, they prepare. When God is about to move, they ready the environment. They shift the air, they stir hearts, they make room for glory. If you've been sensing unusual stillness lately, it may be because the atmosphere is being cleared. Heaven always sends order before it sends overflow. Imagine the night before Israel left Egypt. The people were still, the sky silent, yet angels moved from home to home, sealing what was sacred. That same pattern repeats now. Heaven is sealing your home again, not with visible marks, but with the invisible authority of the blood of Jesus. Your dwelling has been declared territory of light. Beloved, you are not simply living inside walls, you are living within a promise. The angels that stand guard around you are evidence of that covenant. Their very presence testifies that God has invested purpose in your life and intends to see it fulfilled. You are far more protected than you realize, because you are far more significant than you think. Do not let fear whisper otherwise. Fear is the language of the defeated, and you are surrounded by victory. The next time anxiety tries to enter, remember this: it will have to step past heaven's army first, and it cannot rest. Chosen one. Rest not as one who escapes the world, but as one who reigns above it. Let peace fill your home like perfume fills a temple. Angels move quietly through your rooms tonight, not as guests, but as guardians. The night will not harm you, for it now belongs to God. Chosen one. Heaven has begun to interrupt your ordinary rhythm. What once felt predictable now feels pregnant with possibility. The hours move differently, as if time itself has started to bend toward divine intention. The routines that once drained you no longer fit. They feel too small, too fragile to contain what's awakening within you. This is what happens when heaven steps into your schedule, when divine timing overrides human timing. For too long, you've been living by the clock of the world. Work, worry, sleep, repeat. But tonight, God disrupts that cycle. He turns minutes into miracles and seconds into sacred moments. The air is thick with meaning. Every breath feels like a whisper from eternity. You sense that something is shifting, but you can't quite describe it, and that's because heaven rarely announces itself with noise. It moves in layers, like dawn seeping through the blinds before you realize the sun has risen. Beloved, this interruption is not an inconvenience. It's an invitation. Heaven interrupts to align. When God breaks your rhythm, it's because He wants to synchronize you with His heartbeat. The steps of the righteous are ordered, not rushed, and sometimes the divine order begins by slowing down what you thought was urgent. Think of a symphony before the music begins. There is silence. Every instrument tunes to the same pitch. Every musician waits for the conductor's nod. You, too, are being tuned. God is adjusting the tempo of your life, teaching you to move in harmony with His will. The frustrations, the delays, the unexpected pauses, they're all divine measures in heaven's song for your life. We hear this truth echoed in the writings of the Apostle Paul in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. At the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. The phrase proper time carries more power than most realize. It means there is an appointed moment, a precise alignment when everything bursts forth. Until that time arrives, heaven works in silence, growing roots before revealing fruit. You are closer to that proper time than you think. The interruptions you felt were not delays. They were confirmations that you're on the right path. Every detour was divine redirection. Every waiting period was spiritual gestation. Heaven does not waste time, it multiplies it. Chosen one, as you walk through this divine shift, remember this: you are part of a much larger story. What God is doing in your life is not only for you, but through you. Every testimony born in your home becomes a seed of hope for someone else. Your obedience ripples outward like light reflected on still water, small at first, but far-reaching in effect. And because of that, you are invited to partner with this divine work. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not merely engaging with a message, you are extending its reach into hearts that are still waiting in silence. Every action becomes a vessel carrying truth farther than one voice could ever travel alone. If your spirit feels stirred to go deeper, consider sowing a seed, a small donation offered not as a transaction, but as worship. Think of it as placing oil in a lamp that helps keep the flame burning for others. Just as someone once lit a path for you, your gift becomes the light that guides another soul home. Let it be said of you that when heaven moved, you moved too, that when divine alignment came knocking, you opened the door with both faith and generosity. Your giving, your sharing, your engagement. Each act is like a window opened wider, allowing the fragrance of heaven to fill another life. Do not underestimate the quiet power of these gestures. The kingdom advances not through noise, but through faithfulness. Like a stream that carves stone one drop at a time, your participation shapes eternity in ways unseen but everlasting. Beloved, tonight heaven rewrites your schedule. Time is no longer your master, it is your servant. Every moment that felt wasted now becomes holy ground. Every pause becomes purpose. The interruptions of God are the introductions to destiny. So breathe. Slow down and listen. The clock is no longer ticking against you, it's ticking for you. The proper time is drawing near. And when it arrives, you will understand why every delay was sacred, why every interruption was love in disguise. Chosen one, there is a covenant older than time itself, a covering that stretches from the cross to your doorstep. You live beneath that covenant even when you do not feel it. It is invisible but unbreakable, fragile to the eye yet fierce in the spirit. Tonight, heaven reminds you of what shields your life, the blood that speaks better things. Every believer knows the story of the Passover, but few realize it still repeats. What was once physical in Egypt is now spiritual in your home. The destroyer that passed by ancient doors still roams the earth, yet it cannot touch those who are marked by covenant. The blood of the Lamb has not lost its power. It has not faded with centuries or weakened with time. It remains alive, burning with divine protection, pulsing with the promise of mercy. You, chosen one, are covered. That mark upon your life is not written in ink or dust. It is written in the blood of redemption. When the unseen world looks toward your dwelling, it sees that crimson banner fluttering in the spirit. Darkness recognizes it and turns away. Curses dissolve at its sight. The blood is your divine firewall, your eternal signature of belonging. You have wondered why the attacks against you failed, why destruction circled your name but never entered your house. It wasn't luck, it was the covenant. Even when your faith wavered, His blood remained. Even when your prayers felt small, His covering was vast. You stand tonight not because of perfection, but because of protection. We are reminded through the revelation given to John in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. These words carry the blueprint of victory. Overcoming doesn't come from effort alone, it flows from remembrance. You overcome by recognizing what already covers you. The blood is not a relic of religion, it is the living essence of redemption. When you speak it, darkness loses argument. When you remember it, faith rekindles. When you declare it, heaven responds. Every promise God made finds its yes through that covenant. You are not negotiating protection, you are enforcing it. Picture your home tonight as an altar. The angels stand stationed because the covenant still speaks. Every prayer you whisper adds incense to that altar. The blood doesn't only cover, it calls. It declares to heaven, "This one belongs to me." When the accuser brings up your past, the blood interrupts, silencing every accusation. Beloved, the same blood that redeemed your soul also sanctifies your space. That's why some places can't hold you anymore. That's why some relationships quietly fell away. The covenant upon your life began to speak separation. You were marked for higher ground, and heaven would not allow the unholy to cling to you forever. This is why attacks increased before the breakthrough. They were the last gasps of opposition before the wall of blood rose around you again. It is being renewed tonight. The seal that protected you before will now empower you to advance. You are not just surviving under the covering, you are commissioned from within it. Take comfort in this truth: the blood not only guards, it guides. When you are unsure which direction to move, it draws you toward safety, whispering through the Spirit, "This is the way. Walk in it." You are never walking alone. Every step you take leaves an imprint of divine protection beneath it. Chosen one, this is your inheritance, unearned but undeniable. The blood does not fade when storms rise. It does not weaken when faith shakes. It remains stronger than every lie, deeper than every wound, more powerful than every curse. And now, as you read these words, something in the unseen begins to stir. Peace descends, not as a feeling but as a presence. You might feel warmth in your chest, a release in your spirit. That is not emotion, it's evidence. Heaven is reaffirming the mark upon your life. The covering is active, alive, and aware. Tonight, let faith respond. Comment 888 below as a prophetic act, a declaration that the covenant of new beginnings is yours. 8 is the number of renewal, the symbol of resurrection. By writing it, you are not performing a ritual. You are aligning with truth. You are proclaiming that your story begins again under the blood's banner, that your home stands in the territory of grace. Remember this always. The blood does not fail. It does not forget. It does not fade. It still speaks. It still shields. It still saves. And tonight, it whispers your name in heaven's language, beloved, redeemed, chosen, covered. Chosen one. The night has grown quiet again, but it is not the quiet of emptiness, it is the hush of something holy drawing near. There is a whisper moving through your home, a voice softer than breath yet stronger than thunder. It is not a sound of the world, it is the sound of heaven speaking within your walls. The Holy Spirit moves not in shouts but in sighs, not always in visions but often in impressions that rest upon the soul like gentle rain. This whisper is not new. It has been following you through seasons, through pain, through disappointment, through victories you barely noticed. You have heard it in moments when you almost gave up, when a sentence rose inside you that you didn't create. Keep going. That was him. The whisper was the Spirit guiding you when reason failed, holding your heart steady when your strength could not. So often, we look for God in the earthquake, in the grand display of signs and wonders, and forget that the same power dwells in silence. The still voice of the Spirit carries more authority than the shout of the storm. It can split doubt apart, comfort a wounded heart, and awaken the courage that grief once buried. This is how heaven speaks to its chosen, through the language of the quiet. When Elijah stood on the mountain, broken and weary, he expected God to roar through the wind or the fire, but the Almighty came wrapped in stillness. And that same whisper fills your home now. It is subtle, yet unmistakable, because it carries peace with it. Every time that peace enters the room, every time your heart slows and your breathing deepens for no reason, that is the Spirit reminding you, I am here. We are reminded through the account recorded in the first book of Kings, in 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 12. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. That gentle whisper is the presence of guidance, the sign that heaven has not fallen silent about your life. The Spirit has been teaching you to discern, to distinguish his tone amid the clamor of the world. You are learning the difference between emotion and direction, between impulse and inspiration. That's why he has kept you in moments of stillness, so that when he speaks, you'll know it's him. Chosen one. The whisper is not just comfort, it is instruction. Heaven speaks in subtleties because the Spirit trusts your maturity. Those who are infants in faith need thunder to believe, but those who walk in intimacy can follow the faintest nudge. God whispers to you because he knows you are listening. This whisper carries specific messages. For some, it is a call to release something, a burden, a memory, a bitterness you've held too long. For others, it's a gentle urging to act, to begin the thing you've delayed out of fear. The Spirit never shouts commands, he stirs conviction. You will feel it like a soft pull in your chest, a knowing that something must change. Do not ignore it. Heaven's whisper carries the authority of destiny. You've asked for confirmation, and here it is. That restlessness you feel is not anxiety. It's invitation. The Holy Spirit is moving you from the familiar into the faithful. You are being guided into a new rhythm of obedience. There will be no lightning bolt or loud announcement, just the steady assurance that the next step you take will be the right one. The whisper also carries healing. It speaks where medicine cannot reach, when it touches your heart. Memories that haunted you begin to lose their sting. Old words spoken over you begin to fade. The Spirit rewrites the inner language of your soul, replacing wounds with wisdom and fear with faith. This is the quiet work of God, slow, steady, unseen but unstoppable, like the seed beneath soil. His power is moving beneath the surface of your life. You may not see growth yet, but the whisper assures you it is happening. Beloved, stay tender. Do not rush past these moments of calm. They are sacred appointments. In the stillness, your spirit hears heaven's most personal messages. In the quiet, you are reintroduced to your Creator, not as a distant king but as a close companion. The world may crave noise, but you have been chosen for listening. The true miracles begin when the heart learns to recognize the voice that calls it by name. So listen not with your ears but with your spirit. The whisper is speaking again tonight. It carries your next instruction, your next promise, your next breath of peace. Be still. Chosen one. The same Spirit who hovered over the waters at creation now hovers over you. Nothing in your life is without purpose when heaven speaks. Chosen one. Something sacred happens when heaven decides it is time for chains to break. The sound of bondage shattering is not always loud. It often begins in stillness. With a sigh, a tear, a whisper of surrender. You have carried weights for years, some inherited, some chosen. Some placed upon you by those who never understood the depth of your calling. But tonight, the Lord leans close to declare the breaking has begun. The chains you carry are not only visible struggles, some are invisible patterns that have haunted your family for generations. Words spoken over you that took root, fears passed down like heirlooms. You've battled them in silence, wondering why the same cycles repeat despite your prayers. But heaven reveals the truth: you were born to end what others endured. The line of pain stops with you. Bondage never announces its arrival. It disguises itself as normalcy, as attitudes, habits, emotions we accept as part of who we are. Yet the Spirit exposes what darkness hides. You've begun to sense discomfort with things that once felt ordinary. That restlessness is freedom knocking. The very areas that frustrate you are where deliverance is forming. When God decides to break chains, He begins by awakening awareness. You start seeing clearly, seeing how patterns formed, how words shaped you, how certain memories still control your reactions. But this revelation is not to condemn you. It is to empower you. For once you can name the chain, you can command it to break. We are reminded through the writings of the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Those words are not just theology, they are law in the kingdom of heaven. Wherever His Spirit moves, freedom follows. And the Spirit has moved into your home. There are chains that have existed in your bloodline for decades, cycles of fear, scarcity, sickness, conflict. You've watched them repeat like seasons, and you've wondered if they would ever end. But the mark of God on your life changes the pattern. You are not a continuation of pain. You are the interruption of it. The anointing on you was designed to confront what generations before you could not defeat. This is why your warfare has been so intense. The chains fought hardest when you started praying differently, thinking differently, believing differently. Every step of faith you took shook something ancient. And though the shaking felt painful, it was heaven's way of loosening the grip of bondage. Every tear was a blow to the enemy's hold. Every praise you gave in pain was a crack forming in the prison wall. Chosen one. Freedom is rarely gentle. It tears, it separates, it removes. You may lose some things in this breaking season, but everything leaving your life was connected to captivity. The release may hurt for a moment, but it will heal for a lifetime. The sound of chains falling may echo as relationships shift. Habits die, and your perspective changes, but let them fall. You cannot walk into promise while dragging what kept you bound in Egypt. The Lord is not just freeing you for comfort, He is freeing you for calling. Bondage limits movement, and purpose requires space. The Spirit of God removes the weight not so you can stand still, but so you can run. The race before you demands lightness, and heaven will not allow you to be hindered any longer. You will feel this freedom manifest in subtle ways. The nightmares will stop. The heaviness on your chest will lift. The patterns that used to tempt you will lose power. Even your words will shift from fear to faith, from complaint to command. This is what happens when liberty enters a life identity replaces insecurity. And with that liberty comes new authority. The same voice that once trembled in prayer will begin to roar in declaration. You will not just walk free, you will set others free. Those who watch you will see deliverance and not understand how it happened. But heaven will know. The chains that once restrained you have become the keys in your hands. You are now equipped to unlock others. Beloved, remember, this freedom is not a moment. It is a mantle. Every step you take in light becomes a declaration that the darkness lost. The Spirit of the Lord will continue to guide you, transforming every scar into strength, every wound into wisdom. You will never be bound again, not in body, not in spirit, not in fear. The chains have fallen, the doors are open, and what once confined you now lies broken at your feet. Walk forward, chosen one, into the wide and radiant place prepared for you. Chosen one, can you hear it? A new sound is rising, not from the earth, but from the Spirit. It's the voice of those who have wandered through wilderness seasons finally beginning to speak again. The silence that once surrounded the prophets has been shattered. Heaven is awakening voices that were hidden, hushed, or forgotten. And your voice is among them. You may think your words have no weight, but in the kingdom, sound creates reality. Every declaration of faith you release shifts something in the unseen. The enemy has tried to silence you because your voice carries authority. The battles you faced were not random, they were designed to keep you quiet. But now, heaven commands your release. For too long, your gift has been buried under fear and self-doubt. You've questioned whether what you carry is real, whether your dreams were divine or just imagination. But God says it was always me. Those visions, those convictions, those sudden urgings to speak truth, they were sparks of prophetic fire trying to escape your lips. And now, the embers are reigniting. The wilderness has a way of stripping us down until only truth remains. You've lost people, positions, and plans, but you found something far greater: purity of purpose. The silence was never punishment. It was purification. Heaven had to quiet the noise around you so that your spirit could remember the sound of God's voice. The prophets of old often walked alone. They were misunderstood, rejected, labeled dramatic or strange. Yet every time they opened their mouths, creation listened. You carry that same mantle of truth. The wilderness was your classroom. The word was your teacher. You have learned to discern between echo and command, between emotion and revelation. And now, your voice will carry clarity again. We are reminded through the ancient prophecy in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 3. The voice in wilderness crying out, "Prepare the way of Lord, make straight the path, a highway for God." These words were not just for John the Baptist. They live in every chosen soul who dares to speak what heaven speaks. Beloved, your wilderness has not been wasted. Every silent season was sculpting you into a vessel of truth. The fire you feel inside, the urgency to speak, to write, to pray aloud is heaven's confirmation that your mouth is anointed again. You've been silenced long enough. Now your voice becomes a trumpet. When God awakens a voice, it rarely comes with comfort. It comes with conviction. You'll feel a holy unrest when injustice rises, a stirring when you see pain ignored, a burden when you encounter brokenness. That is the Spirit moving through you. Do not suppress it. Prophetic voices are not called to please, they are called to pierce. Your words will carry healing for some and discomfort for others. That's how truth operates. It cuts what it must before it mends. Speak anyway. Don't wait until you feel ready. Speak as one who is sent. Every time you open your mouth in obedience, light enters places that have been dark for too long. Remember, the wilderness prepares warriors who know how to echo heaven. You are one of them. The voice of God is not distant, it is rising from within you. You are the mouthpiece of mercy, the herald of hope, the announcer of change. And the world will recognize that sound when it hears it. There will be moments when you doubt your words, when you wonder if they carry weight. In those moments, remember that the same God who spoke through the desert prophet now speaks through you. You do not invent revelation, you release it. Chosen one, let your wilderness become your witness. Every dry season becomes fertile when it produces a voice that glorifies God. Your past pain will become your present authority. You will speak peace into chaos because you've lived through storms. You will speak healing into hearts because you've known what it's like to break. And you will speak freedom into bondage because you've seen chains fall in your own life. If your spirit feels this stirring, if you sense that something deep within you is awakening, type these words below. As a prophetic response, I will speak. Say it as a declaration, not of arrogance, but of obedience. By writing it, you're not drawing attention to yourself, you're giving permission to heaven. You're saying, use my voice, use my story, use my breath. Every syllable becomes a spark that ignites light in another's darkness. This is your commissioning moment. The wilderness is over. The silence has ended. Heaven has given you a new sound, one that carries healing, authority, and holy fire. Do not whisper what God has commanded you to declare. Lift your head, open your mouth, and let the wilderness hear your roar. The time of hiding is finished. The voice that was quieted now carries the wind of heaven. Speak, chosen one. Speak truth into fear, life into death, and promise into despair. The world will know you not by your name, but by the sound of your obedience. Chosen one, something luminous is hovering above your home tonight. The same fire that led Israel through the wilderness, guiding, protecting, illuminating, is now resting over your dwelling. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit can sense it. The air feels charged, the atmosphere different. It is as if heaven itself has lowered a lantern above your roof. That is not imagination, it is impartation. When God marks a place with fire, it means transition has come. The fire of His presence is not merely warmth, it is direction. It burns away confusion and lights the path that leads to promise. This is not destructive fire, this is refining fire. It does not consume you, it clarifies you. Then it reveals what remains after fear and doubt have turned to ash. We are reminded through the ancient command spoken to Moses in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 24. The Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God burning with holiness and perfect zeal. That consuming fire is love at its purest. It burns not to destroy, but to reclaim what belongs to Him. You have been through seasons where it felt like everything was stripped away. But what truly happened was purification. The flame was never meant to harm you, it was meant to distinguish you. Fire always reveals gold. Beloved, your home now glows with unseen embers. Heaven's flame has chosen this space as a sanctuary. The same light that once rested above the tabernacle now rests over you. It is both protection and promise. Darkness cannot cross where that fire dwells. This is why certain things have left your life without warning. The fire drove them out. What could not stand the heat could not stay. If you've felt divine disruption lately, relationships fading, plans shifting, paths rerouting, understand this. The fire moves before the blessing. It clears before it crowns. You are being refined for revelation. What once felt like loss will soon prove to be preparation. Picture a blacksmith's forge. The metal is useless until it enters the flame. There, it bends, it glows, it transforms. That's you, chosen one. Heaven placed you in its fire not to destroy your form, but to shape your purpose. The bending you felt is the molding of destiny. You're being shaped into a vessel that can carry greater glory without breaking under the weight. This fire doesn't only rest above your home, it wants to rest within your heart. It calls you to devotion, to deeper surrender, to the kind of prayer that feels like breathing light. You'll know it's there when worship becomes natural again, when peace flows without effort, when joy flickers even in difficulty. Beloved, let this holy flame burn away the remnants of yesterday. Let it purify your motives, reignite your creativity, and cleanse your vision. The more you allow it, the more clearly you'll see what's ahead. Fire illuminates not through noise, but through clarity. And as this flame burns in you, remember it was never meant for you alone. Every light heaven kindles is meant to guide others out of their darkness. Your flame is a beacon. When others look at your life and ask, "Why do you still have peace? Why do you still smile?" you will know the answer. Because the fire still burns. If this message has ignited something in your heart, if you feel the warmth of recognition, the quiet knowing that heaven is speaking directly to you, don't keep that flame hidden. Share it. When you like this message, you place another log on the fire, it glows brighter and travels farther. When you share it, you extend the light to someone who is still wandering in night. And when you subscribe, you choose to walk with a tribe that keeps their lamps burning together. If you feel led, consider sowing into this fire through a donation, not as a payment, but as participation. Every offering, no matter how small, is like oil poured into the lamp, keeping the flame alive for those who will need it next. Somewhere, someone waits in darkness for the light you help sustain. You are part of something divine, chosen one. Each gesture, each click, each prayer, each act of generosity builds a bonfire of hope that can reach beyond distance, beyond despair. Your engagement is the spark that keeps heaven's message glowing across the earth. Remember this image: a single ember alone cools quickly, but when gathered with others, it becomes a blaze. You are one ember among many, but together, you create the light by which the lost can see. So, let the fire above your home reflect the fire within your soul. Tend to it with faith, feed it with worship, protect it with obedience. The Lord's consuming fire is not a threat, it's a promise that His presence will never leave you, that His passion for you will never fade. And as it burns tonight, know this: the glow others will see on your face tomorrow will not be from weariness, it will be from worship. You have stood in the light of God's fire, and nothing about you will remain the same. Chosen one, heaven has counted every tear you've ever shed. None of them were wasted, none unnoticed. What seemed like salt and sorrow to you was fragrance and offering to God. The nights you thought were silent were actually symphonies in the spiritual realm. Your tears were composing songs that only heaven could hear. Each drop was a seed, and tonight, heaven whispers that the harvest of those hidden tears has begun. Pain has a language of its own. It speaks in sighs too deep for words, in whispers made only of breath. You've prayed without strength, cried without voice, hoped without evidence. You've laid awake, staring into the dark, wondering if your prayers evaporated before reaching the throne. Yet the truth is this: not one of them disappeared. Every tear fell into the palm of the one who shaped your soul. We are reminded through the sacred writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You have collected all my tears in your bottle, you have recorded each one in your book. Those words are not poetic exaggeration, they are revelation. God does not overlook pain, He archives it. Each tear becomes evidence in the courtroom of heaven, proof that faith endured under pressure. There is divine documentation of your endurance, and because God keeps record, He also brings reward. You've walked through seasons where it felt like your tears were the only prayers you had left, but those liquid prayers spoke louder than words ever could. Heaven translates sorrow perfectly. What the mouth cannot articulate, the heart releases and the spirit interprets. Your tears have been intercessions pure, unfiltered, and holy. Some of those tears were shed over dreams that seemed to die before they ever lived. Others over people who left when you needed them most. Some fell because of the battles that never seemed to end, the ones that stretched you past what you thought you could survive. But look at you, you're still standing. That alone is testimony. Endurance has become your crown. Tears are strange things in the kingdom. In the world, they are signs of weakness, but in heaven, they are symbols of warfare. Every tear shed in faith becomes a weapon of victory. It waters the soil of destiny. Where tears have fallen, resurrection is inevitable. Chosen one. God saw when you wiped your face quickly so no one would notice. He saw when you held yourself together in front of others, only to collapse in solitude later. He was there in the hospital room, the empty kitchen, the lonely drive. His presence did not leave even when you felt nothing. He stood beside you in silence, collecting what your heart could not express. And now, those tears are speaking. They are calling forth recompense, restoration, and renewal. You may not understand how, but heaven has calculated the exchange rate of suffering. For every drop shed, there is a measure of joy waiting. For every moment of mourning, a double portion of gladness. The balance of heaven's justice always leans toward redemption. You will begin to see beauty rising from ashes you thought were final. Relationships restored, peace returning, strength reappearing in places you once felt numb. Your tears purchased these promises long before you knew their value. They have watered the very ground on which miracles will bloom. Understand this mystery: sometimes God allows tears not to break you, but to baptize you. Tears cleanse what bitterness tried to poison. They soften the ground of the heart so that new life can take root. The most fruitful seasons are born from the soil watered by weeping. Your tears have changed the atmosphere of your home more than you realize. They carried intercession through walls, through generations, through time. Even your children, your family, your future will reap from the prayers you cried in private. There is a time for weeping and a time for rejoicing, and heaven announces that your seasons are shifting. The mourning is turning into music. The sighs are turning into songs. What once caused you to bow your head in despair will soon cause you to lift it in praise. When you look back, you will see that every tear had purpose. They were not symbols of defeat, but of devotion. You were not breaking, you were birthing. Every tear birthed something unseen: compassion, wisdom, resilience, faith. Those qualities will carry you through every storm that still lies ahead. Chosen one, can you feel it? The atmosphere around you is shifting. The air that once felt heavy is beginning to move again. The stillness that surrounded your home is turned into divine motion. Something invisible yet undeniable is taking place. You are standing in the midst of a spiritual transition. What was stagnant is beginning to stir. What was delayed is aligning. Heaven's breath is sweeping through your space, rearranging what once seemed immovable. The shift does not always arrive with thunder or visible signs. Sometimes it begins as a subtle awareness, a fresh sense of peace, a sudden lightness in your heart, a quiet knowing that change has already begun. This is that moment. Heaven has started to rearrange the unseen, and soon, the visible will follow. When the Spirit of God moves, it carries both disruption and creation. The same wind that once tore through chaos in Genesis is the same wind now moving through your life. It doesn't come to destroy, it comes to form. It does not scatter without purpose. It clears space for something greater to grow. You might have felt confusion lately, a sudden loss of interest in old routines or connections. That's the evidence of the shift. The things that once fit are no longer comfortable because the atmosphere has changed. You are outgrowing what was once necessary. Heaven is preparing you for elevation, and everything that cannot breathe at your new altitude is beginning to fall away. We are reminded through the conversation of Jesus with Nicodemus in the book of John, chapter 3, verse 8. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. The Spirit moves freely, unhindered by logic or schedule. You cannot control this wind, you can only yield to it. Those who resist it remain stuck, but those who surrender are carried to divine destinations they never imagined. You, chosen one, are being lifted by that wind tonight. The shift is not random. It comes as a response to your faithfulness in seasons when nothing made sense. You kept praying when the heavens felt silent. You kept standing when the ground trembled beneath you. That steadfastness has drawn divine attention. The Lord has issued a new order over your life, and the atmosphere has obeyed. Things will begin to accelerate. Doors that remained shut will open without explanation. Conversations that seemed impossible will suddenly take place. Provisions that once felt distant will arrive quickly. When heaven shifts, momentum follows. You are stepping into a divine current, and resistance is being removed. This wind will also carry cleansing. It will sweep through your thoughts, through your home, through your habits. It will remove what has clung to you too long, old fear, guilt, and self-doubt. The Spirit does not simply bless, He purifies. This cleansing is part of preparation. For the next thing God wants to pour into your life requires open hands and a clean heart. Chosen one, don't panic if life feels like it's changing faster than you can process. Transformation rarely comes in tidy packages. Sometimes it feels like loss before it looks like promotion. The shifting of the Spirit may cause discomfort, but remember, discomfort often precedes destiny. The cocoon must break before the butterfly can rise. This is why heaven asks you to trust. You may not see where this wind is taking you, but you can be sure of who controls it. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters in the beginning is the same Spirit now hovering over your circumstances. Nothing is out of control when God is the one stirring the air. You might wake tomorrow and feel at peace where panic used to be, energy where exhaustion once lived, new ideas that seem to arrive from nowhere. That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. The Spirit is breathing new life into what you thought was dead. As this divine wind moves through your life, it carries restoration. The things you lost that were meant for you will return, refined and redeemed. The time you thought was wasted will be restored with interest. Even your past pain will be recycled into purpose. This is what happens when heaven shifts, it redeems everything it touches. If you feel this movement, if something in your spirit whispers yes, then respond in faith. Comment 444 below, not as a superstition, but as a prophetic act. The number 4 represents establishment north, south, east, and west, the completion of divine direction. By writing 444, you declare, God, establish your movement in every direction of my life. Let this wind not pass me by. You are not just experiencing change, you are witnessing fulfillment. The promises you once only dreamed of are aligning with divine timing. The waiting season is closing. The spirit that once whispered now roars through your circumstances, declaring it is time. Stand still for a moment. Feel the air around you. Listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. The wind of heaven is here. Let it move you where miracles live. Chosen one, every season of waiting has a purpose, but not every waiting is meant to last forever. There comes a holy turning point when heaven moves you from waiting to warring, from silence to strategy, from observation to occupation. That moment has come for you. The time for passive hope has ended. Now begins the time for divine confrontation. You have been refined in patience, trained in endurance, and tempered by fire. The long nights you spent wondering why nothing changed were actually your preparation. Heaven was sharpening your discernment, building your endurance, and teaching your spirit how to fight in faith. The weapons forged in stillness are now ready for battle. There is a reason your warfare has intensified lately. It's not because you've done something wrong, it's because you've stepped onto new territory. Every time God promotes a soul, resistance rises. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are effective. The adversary does not waste energy on what does not threaten him. You, chosen one, are a threat to the darkness. We are reminded through the words of the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Those weapons are not forged from steel or strategy, they are spiritual. Prayer, worship, the word, faith, obedience. These are your armaments. They do not shine in the light, but they devastate in the spirit. You may not see them, but the enemy does. Every whispered prayer sounds like thunder in hell. Every act of obedience swings like a sword in unseen realms. Your waiting season trained your hands for this. You've learned how to listen before acting, how to discern before deciding. Heaven has transformed your sensitivity into strategy. What once overwhelmed you now strengthens you. You know how to fight not with panic but with peace. The calm you carry in battle terrifies the darkness because it knows you no longer react, you command. The battleground is not always outside. Sometimes it's within. The thoughts that accuse you, the fears that whisper failure, the shame that revisits old wounds, these are inner wars. But hear this truth, you are not defenseless. The spirit within you is the same spirit that raised Christ from the grave. That power doesn't only resurrect bodies, it resurrects courage, identity, and faith. Your greatest victories will come when you stop trying to win by willpower and start winning by surrender. Spiritual warfare is not about striving harder, it's about standing firmer. The enemy thrives on your exhaustion, but he trembles at your rest. When you remain unshaken in trust, his tactics collapse. Peace is the most violent weapon in heaven's arsenal. It disarms everything chaos sends your way. Chosen one, warfare requires focus. You cannot fight while looking back. The past is not your battlefield anymore. It is your testimony. Every scar from yesterday becomes a sword for today. You have already survived what once tried to destroy you. Don't let it distract you now. This is the hour of advancement. The same authority that Jesus gave to his disciples rests upon you. You were not chosen just to endure, you were chosen to enforce heaven's will on earth. You carry divine jurisdiction over your environment. When you speak, atmospheres shift. When you pray, strongholds weaken. When you declare truth, lies unravel. But never forget this: true warriors fight from love, not anger. Your battle is not against flesh and blood. It's not your neighbor, your past, or even your circumstances. It's the spiritual darkness that hides behind them. Love keeps you pure in combat. When your heart remains free from bitterness, your authority remains uncorrupted. There will be moments when you grow weary, when you wonder if it's worth the fight. In those moments, remember who fights beside you. The Lord of hosts, the commander of heaven's armies, marches with you. You are never alone on this battlefield. When you lift your voice in prayer, angelic ranks align at your command. The battle is shifting in your favor. What seemed unmovable will crumble. What once dominated your thoughts will bow. You have crossed the line of hesitation and entered the realm of holy confrontation. The enemy knows your name and fears it. You were never meant to remain in waiting forever. You were meant to rise, sword in hand, clothed in faith, crowned with endurance. Heaven has declared you equipped. Now, fight not as one uncertain, but as one already victorious. The war has been won. Your task is simply to enforce what has already been written. The time of waiting is over. Chosen one, stand tall. Speak truth. Move forward. Heaven's army moves with you. Chosen one, the air around you hums with light. Something radiant has been released, a covenant of illumination stretching from heaven's throne to your home. This is not mere protection, this is transformation. The same God who spoke, "Let there be light," now speaks that word again over you. Every shadow that lingered is being chased away by divine brilliance. What was once confusion is becoming clarity, and what was once hidden in darkness is now unveiled. The covenant of light is not a poetic phrase, it is a living promise. Light is not just the absence of darkness, it is the presence of God Himself. Wherever His light dwells, truth reigns and deception dies. Tonight, that light has chosen your dwelling as its sanctuary. You may have noticed that lately. Certain things no longer appeal to you. Conversations, places, habits that once felt comfortable now seem heavy. That is the work of divine light exposing what cannot coexist with destiny. When light enters, it does not merely illuminate, it separates. It divides truth from falsehood, faith from fear, purity from pretense. The presence of God's light often begins quietly. It may start with conviction, a gentle awareness of something that needs to change. It may come as inspiration, a sudden vision for something greater. The purpose is always the same: to call you into alignment with divine purpose. You are being invited to live fully in the radiance of heaven's truth. We are reminded through the writings of John the Apostle in John, chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That verse is not a metaphor, it is a spiritual law. Darkness does not argue with light, it simply flees. Every area of your life that once seemed clouded will soon gleam with understanding. God is not merely shining around you, He is shining through you. Chosen one, you have carried light for years, even when you did not realize it. That's why darkness has always reacted so violently to your presence. Some rooms changed when you entered, not because you spoke, but because your spirit carried illumination. Demons recognize light even when people do not. That inner glow has been your protection, your weapon, your inheritance. now that light grows stronger. The Lord is turning up the brightness within you so that you can see more clearly, discern more sharply, and love more deeply. The brighter you become, the more your vision expands. You will begin to perceive things that others overlook, the intentions of hearts, the direction of divine flow, the subtle shifts of the Spirit. You are being trained not only to walk in the light, but to be the light. Light does not argue with darkness, it simply appears, and darkness vanishes. You are being prepared to carry that kind of authority. When you walk into spaces clouded with negativity or despair, your peace will command order. When confusion surrounds others, your presence will bring understanding. You will speak few words, but they will carry weight because they are illuminated from within. Beloved, understand this: the light that rests upon you comes at a cost. The brighter it grows, the less you can hide. Light exposes, and exposure can feel uncomfortable. It will reveal motives, purify intentions, and strip away anything false. But do not fear the exposure, it is mercy. God never reveals to shame, He reveals to heal. As this covenant deepens, expect divine clarity. Dreams will become sharper. Scripture will open with new depth. People you meet will confirm things you've only whispered in prayer. This is not coincidence, it's alignment. Light attracts light, and heaven is sending reinforcements to walk beside you. Chosen one, the world around you grows darker, but that darkness only makes your glow more visible. You are a living prophecy of hope, a walking lighthouse for those lost at sea. The Lord did not light you to hide you, He lit you to guide others home. Let that truth settle in your spirit. You are not an accident of faith. You are an intentional flame. Every trial you've endured, every tear you've shed, every moment you've stood firm in silence, all of it was preparation for this illumination. The covenant of light ensures that no darkness can dominate you again. Depression will bow before joy, fear will dissolve in peace, confusion will yield to revelation. Wherever you go, you will carry evidence that the light of God lives within you. So walk boldly, luminous one. You are not merely reflecting glory, you are radiating it. The world may not understand the glow that surrounds you, but the heavens rejoice. For you have become what you were always meant to be, a bearer of divine light in a fading world. Chosen one. The sound of heaven is stirring again. It's a sound of confirmation. The trumpets of divine assurance are beginning to echo through your atmosphere. This isn't the blast of chaos, but the music of completion. Heaven is announcing that what was spoken over you long ago is now coming into view. Promises are not just approaching, they are arriving. Every word God ever spoke into your spirit was written into time like a seed planted in hidden soil. You may have thought some of those promises were lost, but heaven never forgets its own language. The trumpet is sounding to declare it is time. You are entering the manifestation of prayers once whispered and dreams once deferred. There's a holy rhythm in the way God confirms His word. It might come through repetition, a phrase you keep hearing, a scripture that keeps reappearing, a person who unknowingly echoes what heaven told you in secret. These are not coincidences, they are trumpet blasts in disguise. Every confirmation is a call to pay attention. Heaven is speaking in harmony around you. We are reminded through the ancient command of the prophet Joel in Joel, chapter 2, verse 15. Blow the trumpet, Zion, declare a holy fast call, a sacred assembly, gather God's people unto His presence. That trumpet was not a noise of fear, it was an invitation to awaken, to gather, to prepare. The same call is sounding for you now. Heaven blows the trumpet over your life to awaken the part of you that still doubts it's truly your time. Chosen one, you have waited with dignity. You have believed when nothing moved. And now, Heaven begins to move with acceleration. The confirmations you receive in this season are not random signs, they are coordinates guiding you to your next assignment. God confirms before He reveals so that your heart will recognize His fingerprints when the miracle appears. When Israel heard the trumpet, they knew movement was near. The sound meant that the cloud of God's presence was lifting, urging them to follow. In the same way, this spiritual sound you're sensing means the cloud over your life is shifting forward. It's time to move emotionally, spiritually, and in faith toward what's unfolding. Every time God confirms His word, He is not repeating Himself, He is reinforcing your courage. Heaven's language of affirmation is not meant to flatter you. It's meant to fortify you. God knows the path ahead requires faith that will not tremble when storms arise. Each trumpet blast strengthens your resolve to keep walking in divine direction. And while you walk this journey, remember this truth: you are not walking alone. This space, these words, this message is not a random encounter. It is a gathering point for Heaven's chosen ones, a digital altar where faith ignites faith. When you like this message, it isn't about algorithms, it's about agreement. You're saying, "Yes, Lord, I hear your trumpet too." When you share it, you become a messenger yourself, a herald carrying heaven's sound into homes still sleeping in doubt. You may never know whose life will be touched by your simple act of obedience. And when you subscribe, you don't just follow content, you join a community of flame bearers who keep each other's faith burning through nights of waiting. If this message has stirred your spirit, consider sowing into the trumpet's call. Think of it like placing oil into a shofar so its sound can travel farther. Every donation, every gift is not payment, it's participation. It fuels the message, allowing the light of God's word to reach the places where silence still reigns. You become part of the echo that calls others to hope again. Beloved, when heaven blows the trumpet, it's not just sound, it's signal. It means that the time for doubting has ended, and the time for doing has begun. Don't let hesitation mute your response. Let your life become the echo of obedience. And as you feel this resonance within your spirit, let it overflow. Leave a comment below as your own trumpet of testimony. Write words like "I hear the call" or "the sound reaches me." Each comment becomes a small flame, a spark of agreement that lights the path for someone else who may still be searching for confirmation. You have heard heaven's sound tonight. It isn't just an announcement, it's a commissioning. The trumpets of confirmation are not distant, they are personal. They declare that you have been seen, chosen, and sent. Lift your head, chosen one. The silence has broken. The signals are clear. The promises are aligning. The way is opening, and the trumpets are still sounding. Step forward in faith, for heaven has called your name through the music of divine confirmation. Chosen one, the hour has come. What you have waited for in faith, what you have prayed for in silence, what you have dreamed about even through tears, it now draws near. Heaven is not distant tonight, it is entering your room. The divine presence you once felt only in glimpses now begins to saturate your very atmosphere. You may not have realized it, but the veil between heaven and earth is thinner than breath. And right now, that veil is parting. The King is stepping in. When heaven enters a room, everything changes. The ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. The walls that once echoed with weariness begin to vibrate with worship. The air itself feels alive as if it recognizes its creator. Even silence becomes sacred because it holds the weight of glory. You don't have to force this presence. You simply have to acknowledge it. For what you honor will always increase. You may notice warmth rising within you, peace descending like a gentle wave, or even a sudden awareness that you are not alone. These are the signatures of divine visitation. The presence of God is not confined to temples or cathedrals. He chooses hearts as his sanctuary. Tonight, your home becomes holy ground. We are reminded through the sacred account of Solomon's dedication of the temple in 2 Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 14. The priests could not stand to minister, for the cloud came, the Lord's glory filled the house of God. That same glory, the one that made human strength collapse under holiness, is the same glory entering your space now. It comes not as a spectacle, but as a still, radiant power, gentle enough to comfort, mighty enough to transform. You cannot control this presence. You can only surrender to it. It knows every corner of your heart, every unspoken prayer, every wound you've carried quietly. The glory enters not to judge, but to heal. Chosen one, when heaven enters your room becomes a meeting place between eternity and time. The ordinary ceiling above you turns into heaven's canopy. The light flickering in your lamp becomes a reflection of divine fire. The same Spirit that descended upon Mary and overshadowed her with promise now overshadows you with purpose. Do not resist what you feel. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the peace settle where anxiety once lived. The King delights to dwell where he is welcomed. The quiet moments where you feel nothing but stillness, those are not absences. That is his nearness revealing itself in simplicity. As this presence fills your space, it begins to rearrange unseen things. Wounds begin to close without words. Fear loses its vocabulary. The memories that once haunted you begin to fade into lessons rather than pain. The glory doesn't just visit, it renovates. Every dark corner becomes a canvas for light. Every broken space becomes an altar for restoration. You will feel the effects of this visitation in the days to come. Conversations that once frustrated you will flow with peace. Decisions that once overwhelmed you will unfold with clarity. You will notice divine timing aligning effortlessly. It will seem as if heaven itself has taken over your schedule, and in truth, it has. The presence of God is not limited to emotion. It transforms reality. When heaven enters a room, even time bends to obedience. What once would have taken years to heal or change can shift in moments under his glory. The impossible becomes logical. The miraculous becomes natural. This is what you were made for, not endless striving, not fearful survival, but communion. You were designed to carry this presence, to host it, to let it flow through you into the world. The glory that now fills your home is not meant to fade when this night ends, it's meant to remain. Beloved, you are the temple now. The glory does not leave when you stand up, it moves with you. The same Spirit that filled Solomon's temple has chosen your heart as his dwelling. You are the new sanctuary, the living house of God. The presence you feel tonight is not a visitation, it is an invitation to perpetual habitation. So be still and know that you are standing in holy light. Let every breath become a prayer, every heartbeat a hymn. You are no longer waiting for heaven to arrive, heaven is already here. And when you wake tomorrow, you will know that nothing around you is the same, because nothing within you is. Chosen one, dawn approaches, and with it comes understanding. All that heaven has done around you, all that you have felt and endured, leads to this revelation: you were never merely the recipient of a miracle. You are the dwelling of it. The power that moved through your home was not meant to linger in walls or shadows. It was meant to settle in you. You are not standing before glory anymore, you are carrying it. The same presence that entered your room now abides in your spirit. The miracle that once felt external has become internal. You are the living continuation of what God began when He marked your home. The transformation has crossed the threshold of your heart, claiming it as sacred territory. You are the house of the holy, the vessel of the divine. When God fills a person, they stop living by circumstance and begin living by covenant. That is your reality now. The peace that surrounded you last night still flows within you this morning. The warmth that covered you is now fire inside your chest. You no longer seek miracles, you become one. This truth echoes through the sacred writings of Paul the Apostle in 1 Corinthians, chapter 3 on verse 16. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that His Spirit dwells in you? That question is not rhetorical, it's awakening. To know it is to step into power, and to believe it is to live in authority. You carry within you the very presence that spoke the universe into being. Every word you speak, every step you take, carries resonance in heaven's frequency. Chosen one. This is what it means to be chosen, not to be elevated above others, but to be emptied enough for God to dwell within you fully. Every breaking you endured was making room. Every loss was clearing space. Every tear washed away what could not hold His glory. The cracks in your heart were never flaws. They were entrances. Through them the light of heaven poured in. Now you walk not as one seeking favor, but as one embodying it. The Spirit within you is not distant or dormant, it is alive, breathing, whispering, guiding. It transforms how you see, how you speak, how you respond. What used to provoke fear now provokes prayer. What once overwhelmed you now awakens faith. You will begin to notice a strange shift. Places that once drained you will feel lighter, because your presence itself changes atmospheres. You will carry calm into chaos, wisdom into confusion, hope into despair. You are not merely surrounded by blessing, you are a vessel through which blessing flows. The world around you may not immediately recognize the transformation, but the unseen realm already knows. Heaven rejoices and darkness retreats, for the dwelling of God has expanded again. Every time you choose faith over fear, love over bitterness, worship over worry, the light within you grows stronger. Beloved, realize what has been entrusted to you. The Creator of all things calls your spirit His home. The miracle you prayed for has already taken place. It was the merging of divine and human, heaven and earth. Creator and creation within you. The home marked for a miracle was simply the outer reflection of the temple He was building inside your heart. Now every day becomes sacred. The mundane becomes holy. Washing dishes, walking outside, sitting in silence all become acts of communion because God is present in them through you. You are the living sanctuary through which heaven continues to move. And remember, carrying His presence is not a weight of pressure, it is a rhythm of grace. You were not chosen because you were perfect, but because you were willing. The Spirit within you does not demand performance, it invites partnership. You are not a slave to holiness, you are a friend of glory. Let that truth rest on you like morning light. You no longer have to chase moments of divine encounter, you are the encounter. Wherever you go, heaven follows. The same way the Ark of the Covenant carried God's presence through the wilderness, your heart carries His presence through the world. You are both altar and ambassador, both vessel and voice. Chosen one. The miracle did not happen to you, it happened through you. The light that once rested upon your home will now spread through your life, touching those who come near. They will not understand it, but they will feel it. Peace will follow you like fragrance. Hope will bloom in your footsteps. The glory that entered your home will now flow from within you like a living river. You are no longer waiting for visitation. You are living habitation. The Holy Spirit has made His home within you, and nothing can separate you from that truth. You are God's dwelling, His chosen vessel, His beloved reflection on the earth. And from this day forward, Your life itself becomes the miracle that others will witness and wonder about. Chosen one, you have reached the end of this divine journey, but not the end of what heaven is doing in you. What began as a message has become a movement within your spirit. You've walked through revelation, fire, silence, and light, and now you stand renewed, anchored in purpose, wrapped in peace, alive with presence. If this message has stirred something deep inside you, don't let it fade into memory, let it become momentum. Like this word as a sign of agreement with heaven. Share it, not as mere content, but as a torch that can ignite faith in someone else still walking through darkness. Your simple act might be the spark that rekindles another heart's hope. Leave a comment below, tell your story, declare your faith, or write a single word that reflects what you've felt. Each comment becomes a thread woven into this tapestry of light, connecting chosen ones across the world. And if your spirit desires to walk further with this message, subscribe not for routine, but for relationship, so that every new word of life finds you right when you need it most. Heaven smiles upon you, flame bearer. You are light. You are chosen, and your miracle has only just begun.